Honestly, it's been so long since I've talked about a kick streamer. It's been not even a kick streamer actually, even a Rumble streamer. I haven't talked about any streamer at all since summer of last year. That will change, especially since the current topic now will be Lianos. If you don't know who Lianos is, that is fine. I'm going to explain everything I do know currently and what he does that makes him special. Since there are a lot of streamers I need to talk about and do talk about that really need their own recognition. Lianos is one of those examples. But to talk about him, I need to talk about how I found him and what really makes him stand out in the crowd. To start off, as you know, there's mainly, 3 ways to find a streamer. Or 4 if you really count other social medias. But we're not going to talk about that one for now. There's one, finding through either the front page or through, recommendation on the immediate recommendations. Mainly you find bigger people through there. Second, you find through categories, which is mainly just chatting, GTA, etc., or just categories in general. Could be anything. Or 3, my favorite method, and just personally what I recommend from people overall, is building a community that includes other people as well, not just you as a streamer. And this is kind of how I found Lianos, since the first time I even met him was actually in sofibear's chat, which I talked about previously, actually. After that, I went over to his chat and actually interacted with him over the past several months. And over time, people from other chats, other communities have also appeared, talked to him, and actually do like him. Actually, if you look at the footage above being by in front of you, there's other streamers that have either visited his chat or do interact with him commonly. Which is honestly a good lesson when it comes to actually interacting with people and just building your own community from the get-go. Since it doesn't just start big, you just have to actually create one over time. As for what he does naturally, it separates into 3 main categories and a 4th category that's more of an implementation of the first thing I talked about earlier. But to talk about each section, I think the first one is naturally just chatting. Just chatting is not unique, but more transparent if I had to give a word. Mostly because you can really talk about anything natural as long as you don't push it, obviously. But if you actually just want to have a transparent conversation about possibly issues or just something that you really want to talk about, you can talk about it as long as it's not super out of line and against guidelines naturally. And I actually have footage of a conversation like that, which I will show you in a minute.
The problem is here, Hellboy. If you take this slow now. Look, I'm telling you, since I know you, that you're gonna ruin your life if you keep on the path you're walking on. Because all you care about is money. Even if it doesn't look like it, in the end, it's money. You just want to have a better life. For you, the better life is connected to money. And at some point it is. But first of all, what you have to understand is, you decide what happens in your life. Second of all, everybody, it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter where you're coming from. Everybody has a chance to do something out of himself. All he needs is the passion for it.
As you can see, you're not really super limited on what you can talk about as long as it's actually not super weird that you actually get banned for, which there are limits to kick. I don't know why I need to explain that, but naturally. But there's moments like that. As long as you just have a good conversation, aren't super hostile, you'll naturally be given an open ear, which is something I really appreciate, since naturally not all streamers would do that. The next category, naturally, is gaming. Gaming is a bit of a unique category in his case, not because it's actually a new category that everyone doesn't do. It's more or less the fact that he does play popular games like Fortnite or GTA or other games naturally, because almost everyone does. But he also plays different games that you either have never heard of or B, don't really see people playing. Airport CEO, Crusader Kings, Cityscapes. You have games like that aren't really super played by audiences, at least in streamers' case, but are interesting to see since you get to either learn new games or just see someone new playing those games that you wouldn't really expect. And on top of it, a bonus plus for those type of games are you can also chat still with Lianos while he's also playing those type of games. So it ends up being an interesting experience for whoever wants to actually join in or at least talk to him while those games are happening. Now we get to the last and, in my opinion, most interesting one of the set. Gambling. Which I know, some people don't like gambling for several reasons, but this is a bit different because of several things. One, this is mostly his own money, except daily spins, which are more of just given by stake regardless, but that's another thing entirely. So, for the most part, one, it's very, very small part of the stream itself. So it ends up being, 20 minutes, 30 minutes in it possibly, out of probably a 6-hour stream. Second, along with this, it's not just him that wins when he plays or when he actually does start playing. It's also you. And this is through the concept of collective winning. If you don't know what that is, I'll explain simply. So, whenever he wins a certain amount, you also win a certain proportional amount through points. Of what those points entail, most of those points are actually in part due to the fact that whenever the actual month goes by, there is about a giveaway of who has the most points. So whoever has the most points through that actual week or month, mostly month, actually gets a prize. Usually it ends up being either a spin on the wheel, possibly crypto, and then even at base, if you don't have any of those, you can just get a gift card to his shop, which is a $100 gift card, by the way. I would explain it more in detail, but he explains it better than I ever could in this case. I'll let him explain it for a second.
Every 5 minutes you watch a stream, 5 points to your account. If you're subbed in, it's 10. Easy. Plus 100 extra for each sub, like gifted or yourself. There's points for everything. The gambling. If we have huge wins, you know that. 200x. If we cross the 200x, you get points. You get points for subbing. You get points for being more active in chat. There's some extra points for that too. Yeah.
This leads me back into the community engagement aspect, which I did mention earlier with some detail, but I think it's better if I actually explain more here. Now, as I told you earlier, it really is the community aspect, like I did mention with Party last video. Go look at it if you want to see. That I really enjoyed with Lianos and just small streamers in general. Because as you noticed with even earlier videos, I really take a focus on just the community and how they really enjoy streaming. And I can really see that with Lianos, since he doesn't have to stream. It's not really a job, but it's more of just a hobby that benefits because you actually get to interact with people. Which I openly respect because that's, in my opinion, what streaming is really supposed to be. Now, I do have to preface, like most of the other people I talked about so far, that Lianos isn't the biggest streamer right now since already he's not even at 1K so far. But personally, I don't, as we noticed before, I don't really mind personally. And on top of that, and I really see a lot of potential in him in really every other way. Since he really does care about the actual community and actual other people around him when it comes to other streamers. He's a positive influence and honestly just good to have around. So I really see him growing over the next 2-3 years into a sizable or at least very noteworthy streamer to talk about. Not even only to talk about it, but just a good streamer overall. But I really do see a lot of potential in him, and I really hope I can actually talk about him again in the future. As for my next video, I'm probably going to be talking about at least someone else in my category, since there are actually more people that actually do more or less what I do, but in different ways, obviously. So I'm probably going to talk about them, but that'll take a while. This is in part just due to the fact that February is coming up. It'll be the first year that I've actually fully been making videos, so that's nice. So I'm excited to talk about that and thank everyone in the process that actually been at least a part of this, I guess, growing pains that is the first year. But I thank everyone, and I'll see y'all pretty soon.